My runaway husband has returned, bringing with him a pregnant girlfriend who intends to claim everything I have now. But what he doesn't know is that everything he left behind during the past 8 years has been transformed into something that no longer belongs to him. That day, I was fine-tuning the PPT for tomorrow's TED Talk, which displayed the title, The Power of Women in the AI Revolution. Suddenly, the smart doorbell rang out an alarm. Dr. Rodriguez, an unknown visitor has been detected, security level, medium risk. My home's AI security system never makes mistakes. It can identify anyone in my contact list. I clicked on the real-time feed from the 4K camera and was momentarily stunned. Standing at my door was my ex-husband, Jake Morrison, who had been missing for exactly 8 years. Beside him stood a young girl, pregnant, and looking no older than 25. My heart did not skip a beat, and my blood pressure monitor showed normal readings. This surprised me a bit, because when he left 8 years ago, I had cried until I nearly suffocated. Now, seeing him, my heart felt as calm as a still lake. Jake was trying to unlock the door with his fingerprint, but obviously failing. He began banging on the door with significant force, clearly impatient. "Sarah, I know you're in there. Open up." His voice remained as crude as ever, unchanged. The young girl beside him lightly cradled her belly, looking somewhat nervous. I turned off the PPT and walked toward the door, but did not open it immediately. "Jake Morrison, according to California law, you were declared dead in 2020. May I ask what brings you here?" My voice came through the smart doorbell, sounding calm and professional. From outside, I heard Jake's shocked voice. "What? Dead? Sarah, what the hell are you talking about? Open the door. This is the private residence of Dr. Sarah Kim Rodriguez. If you do not have an appointment, I suggest you contact my legal team first." "Dr. Sarah, cut the act. I'm your husband, Jake." I took a deep breath, remembering the man who had left behind $500,000 in gambling debts. I thought of the nights I spent in despair, cradling a newborn Luna while facing creditors at the door. I remembered how I juggled breastfeeding and coding late into the night, just to pay off the mess he left behind. Now, I earn $8 million a year. My company is valued at $5 billion, poised for an IPO. I had just received the Global Tech Women Leader Award and was set to deliver a talk at TED tomorrow. I lived in a smart mansion worth $12 million, driving a Tesla Model S Plaid. My second husband, Michael, is an aerospace engineer at NASA, and our marriage is blissfully happy. And Jake Morrison has been legally dead for 4 years. Finally, I opened the door. The moment Jake saw me, a glimmer of surprise crossed his eyes. I was wearing Lululemon yoga clothes, my figure even better than it had been 8 years ago. On my wrist, I wore a smart diamond ring valued at $1 million, and around my neck hung a limited edition Tiffany necklace. "Sarah, you look different." His eyes roamed over me, clearly noticing the changes. "Of course it's different. It's been 8 years," I replied coolly. The young girl eagerly extended her hand. "Hi, I'm Ashley Thompson, Jake's girlfriend. I'm sorry for this sudden visit." Her voice was sweet, tinged with a Texas accent, and she looked genuinely kind. "Come in, but it can only be for a little while, as I still need to prepare for tomorrow's speech." Jake stepped inside, as if returning to his own home. But when he saw the living room, he froze. A 75-inch OLED TV was playing my feature interview from last month's Forbes magazine. There was a full BO audio system, a $150,000 Italian leather sofa, and that massive floor-to-ceiling window. Most striking was the painting hanging on the wall, a photograph of Michael and me at the NASA Kennedy Space Center. Is this still our house?" Jake stammered. "No, this is my house," I corrected him. I walked over to the smart speaker. "Alexa, introduce the owner of this house." "This mansion located in Palo Alto belongs to Dr. Sarah Kim Rodriguez, the current CEO of Cybernova, the chief technology officer of the AI company, holding a PhD in computer science from MIT, and named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2024. Jake's face grew increasingly pale. Ashley widened her eyes, looking utterly at a loss for words. "Sarah, when did you become a doctor? And what kind of company is Cybernova?" "It's been 8 years since your disappearance," I replied, sitting gracefully on the couch. "As for Cybernova, it is currently the third largest AI company in the world, valued at $5 billion, and I own 30% of the shares." Jake's mouth dropped open as if he could fit an egg inside. Wait. He waved his hands, clearly still shaken. Are you saying that legally I'm dead? What does that even mean? I picked up a folder from the coffee table, which I had prepared specifically for this moment. According to California Civil Code Section 12051, individuals who have been missing for over 7 years without any sign of life can be declared dead by the court. You disappeared on March 15, 2016, and were declared dead by the California Superior Court on March 15, 2020. I handed him the death certificate, which bore the court's red seal. Jake took the document, his hands trembling. This can't be. I just went to Mexico. Went to Mexico to escape your debts, right? I said calmly. A gambling debt of $500,000 plus interest, which should now be around $1.3 million. Ashley looked at Jake in shock. Gambling debts? Jake, you never told me any of this. That was in the past, Jake hurried to explain. I don't gamble anymore. We opened a small restaurant in Mexico. A restaurant? I chuckled involuntarily. And what money did you use to open that? Your parents' inheritance? Jake's face turned ashen. My parents' inheritance has been completely set up in a trust fund, with Luna Kim Rodriguez as the sole beneficiary, our daughter. After you were declared dead, Luna inherited the $1.2 million estate left by your parents as your only legal heir. Of course, I manage this money as her guardian until she turns 18. I watched Jake's expression grow more desperate, yet inside, I felt nothing. 8 years ago, when I held 3-month-old Luna in my arms while facing threats from creditors, how I had wished this man would step up and take responsibility. But he chose to run away. Now, he had returned only to find that everything no longer belonged to him. So, what about our son? I want to meet my son, Jake stammered. Our daughter, I corrected him. We have a daughter, Luna, who is 8 years old this year. And biologically, yes, you are her father. But legally and emotionally, her father is Michael Rodriguez. Who is Michael? Jake's voice sharpened. I pointed to the picture on the wall. My husband now, an aerospace engineer at NASA, the project manager for the Mars program. We got married in 2021, and Luna has always called him Dad. Ashley finally spoke up. So, you're remarried? Yes. In a very happy marriage, I said with a smile. But that doesn't matter, because when Jake was declared dead, our marriage was automatically annulled. So from a legal perspective, Jake and I were never divorced since he's been dead. Jake abruptly stood up and began pacing the living room. This is absurd. I'm very much alive. I can overturn the death declaration. Of course you can, I nodded, but it will require a complex legal process. Not to mention you'll need to explain what you've been doing for these 8 years, including why you haven't been paying child support, why you didn't fulfill your marital obligations, and why you left a woman to shoulder the debts you left behind. I stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the night view of Silicon Valley. Jake, do you know how I've managed these past 8 years? During the first year after you disappeared, I worked 16 hours every day, going to my day job and writing code part-time at night. When Luna got sick, I held her in the hospital overnight because I couldn't afford a babysitter. I learned to fix toilets, change light bulbs, and repair computers because I couldn't afford to hire a repairman. I went back to school for my PhD, sleeping only 4 hours a night because I needed to prove I wasn't just some pitiful abandoned woman. I turned to face Jake, and now I don't need saving from anyone, least of all you. Ashley spoke softly. Sarah, I really didn't know any of this. Jake only told me you two had been separated for a long time and that the relationship had broken down. He said you agreed to a divorce, just that the paperwork hasn't been finalized. I looked at the young girl, a wave of sympathy swelling within me. Ashley, I don't blame you, but you need to know the truth. Jake Morrison is a gambler, a coward, an irresponsible man. 8 years ago, he fled from a debt of $500,000 and now he's back, perhaps because he also owes debts in Mexico. Jake, irate, said, Sarah, you can't just defame me like this. I'm here to ask for a divorce, not to listen to your lectures. Just then, the sound of a car engine echoed from outside. It was a Tesla model. The distinctive sound of S's silent engine filled the air. As the garage door automatically opened, I knew Michael had returned home from NASA. Jake's demeanor instantly shifted to one of tension upon hearing the noise. Is that your husband now? He asked. Yes, Dr. Michael Rodriguez, chief engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I relished in the sight of Jake's unease. He had never cared about my feelings like this 8 years ago. Michael stepped through the door, still clad in his blue NASA jumpsuit, sporting the Mars Mission 2026 badge on his chest. He stood at 6 feet 1, with brown hair and deep brown eyes, an archetypal Latin heartthrob. Most importantly, there was an air about him that Jake could never possess. Poised, dependable, and imbued with wisdom. "Sarah, how's your speech preparation coming along?" Michael asked, giving me a kiss on the cheek. Then, he noticed the two strangers in the living room. "Oh, we have company? Michael, let me introduce you," I said, linking my arm through his. "This is Jake Morrison, the biological father of Luna. And this is Ashley Thompson, his girlfriend." Michael extended his hand. "Nice to meet you both. I'm Michael Rodriguez, Sarah's husband and Luna's father." Jake did not extend his hand to respond but fixed his gaze intently on Michael. "You're the man who stole my wife?" Michael frowned slightly. "Sir, I believe you've misunderstood something. Sarah was a single mother when we met. Her ex-husband has been missing for 3 years. And according to the law, you were declared dead in 2020, so I haven't stolen anyone's wife." Jake's face flushed crimson. "I'm not dead. I'm alive and well. Sarah is my wife, and Luna is my son. Daughter." Michael and I corrected him simultaneously. Ashley could no longer contain herself. "Jake, can you explain what's going on? You told me Sarah was just your ex-girlfriend. You said you two were never married, that you just cohabited for a few years. You said she owed you money, and that's why you had to leave." Michael and I exchanged glances, both of us shocked at what we heard. "Owed you money?" I could hardly believe my ears. "Jake, how could you lie to Ashley like this?" Jake waved his hands in panic. "No, Ashley, let me explain. You told her I owed you money?" My voice had begun to sharpen. "Is it the $500,000 you owe for gambling debts? Or the child support for the past 8 years? Or perhaps it's the therapy fees I have incurred due to your disappearance?" Ashley's face grew paler. "Child support? Jake, do you have kids? And you two are married? Not just ex-girlfriends?" Michael stepped closer to Ashley and spoke gently. "Ma'am, I think you need to know the truth." He produced a tablet from his briefcase and opened a folder. "Here are all the legal documents, including Jake and Sarah's marriage certificate, Luna's birth certificate, Jake's missing person report, and the declaration of death." Ashley took the tablet, tears welling up in her eyes. "Jake, you deceived me. You've been lying to me for 2 years." "No, Ashley, listen to me," Jake tried to explain. "I was married to Sarah, but that was a long time ago. Our relationship ended ages ago. I have no feelings for her anymore. I love you, only you. I came back to formally divorce her so we could get married." At this point, I couldn't help but laugh. "Jake, do you really think time has stopped since 8 years ago? Do you think I'm still that woman who wept every day after you abandoned me? You think just because you come back, I will obediently sign the divorce papers and let you start a new life?" I stepped closer, my voice turning eerily calm. "Let me tell you the reality. First, legally, you're dead, and our marriage does not exist. Second, even if you revoke your death declaration, you have no property to divide because all assets in these 8 years have been created by me personally. Third, Luna considers Michael her father both legally and emotionally, so you have no custody rights. Fourth, you still owe $1.3 million in debts, including principal and 8 years of interest." Jake's complexion turned ashen. "Debts? Haven't those creditors given up already?" Michael shook his head. "Debts never disappear, Jake. And now that Sarah has succeeded, they're even more motivated to collect. In fact, our legal team has already been handling this issue." Ashley finally grasped the situation. She stood up, glaring at Jake with anger. "So your real reason for coming back isn't to marry me, but because you've gotten into trouble in Mexico? You want to use Sarah's wealth to solve your problems?" Jake quickly shook his head. "No, Ashley, I really love you." Just then, the voice of a little girl echoed from upstairs. "Mommy? Daddy, Michael? Who are you talking to?" Luna had returned. She descended the stairs, carrying her little backpack and holding a tablet. At 8 years old, she had long, jet black hair and bright, expressive eyes, inheriting my East Asian features and Jake's blue eyes. But her demeanor was miles away from Jake's. She resembled Michael instead, calm, clever, and organized. "Mom, I created a little game in my programming class today. Do you want to see it?" Luna completely ignored the stranger in the living room and ran straight to Michael. "Michael, Dad, did NASA do anything interesting today?" Michael crouched down and gently patted her head, Today, we received new data from the Mars probe and found some fascinating minerals. Really? What kind of minerals? Luna's eyes sparkled with excitement. At that moment, Jake couldn't hold back any longer. Hi there, little one, I'm your dad. Luna turned her head, looking at the unfamiliar man with confusion.
Dad?
But Michael is my dad. She instinctively stepped back behind Michael. No, child, I'm your biological father. Jake tried to come closer. I'm Jake Morrison, your mom's ex-husband. Luna glanced at me and then back at Michael before calmly stating, Sir, if you are my biological father, why haven't you been around for the past 8 years? Why don't you know I'm a girl and not a boy? Why have you never paid a single cent in child support? Why has mom never mentioned you in front of me? Jake was rendered speechless by her questions. This 8-year-old girl, with her clear logic and straightforward inquiries, had hit all the sensitive spots in one go. I had some difficulties back then, and had to leave. Jake stammered an explanation. What difficulties? Luna pressed on. Were they worse than mom raising me alone? Were they worse than mom working 16 hours a day? Were they worse than mom being sick and having no one to care for her? I was shocked as I watched my daughter. I had never complained in front of her, but clearly, she understood the hardships we had faced over the years better than I had imagined. Michael lifted Luna into his arms. Sweetheart, it's okay. We're all doing well now, right? Luna nodded, then looked at Jake. Sir, I don't know you, so please don't casually claim to be my father. My father is Michael Rodriguez. He teaches me math, helps me with my homework, and takes care of me when I'm sick. He's involved with NASA's Mars program. He's my hero. Jake's face fell, turning a shade of despair. Ashley watched the scene unfold, tears finally streaming down her face. Jake, we should go, she said softly. I need time to think.
No.
Jake suddenly got agitated. I can't just leave like this. Sarah, I know I've done a lot of wrong things in the past, but I'm back now. We can start over. I can be Luna's father. I can help you take care of the family. What can you do? I interrupted him. Can you help me pay off debts? Can you write code for me? Can you take care of Luna while I'm burning the midnight oil? Jake, you don't understand. When you left 8 years ago, the old Sarah died. Standing before you now is Dr. Sarah Kim Rodriguez, CTO of Cybernova, holding 30% of the shares, a strong woman on the brink of an IPO. I don't need your rescue. I don't need your care. I don't even need your apology. It was your departure that made me who I am today. Michael walked over to me, firmly holding my hand. His support enveloped me with unparalleled safety and warmth. This is what a real man should look like. It's not about running away when you need it the most, but rather extending a hand when you're at your most vulnerable. Luna trotted over to us and tugged at my sleeve with her small hand. Mommy, I'm hungry. Can we have dinner now? Of course, sweetheart, I said, ruffling her hair. Michael, what do you feel like eating today? How about we order from that Japanese place? The one Luna loves so much. Great idea. We discussed dinner as we usually did, completely oblivious to Jake and Ashley's presence. This wasn't a deliberate act of neglect. It's just that they truly no longer mattered. Jake stood there, watching the warmth of our little family with a complex expression on his face. Perhaps it was only at this moment that he realized he had lost not just a wife, but a complete family. And this family now no longer needed him. As Luna went to wash her hands in preparation for dinner, Ashley finally spoke up. Sarah, I want to apologize for Jake's actions. I really didn't know about any of this. Her voice was soft, filled with guilt and confusion. When I met Jake at a resort in Mexico, he told me he was single and just sorting out some debts with an ex-girlfriend. He said he had a small business in the States and was getting ready to return to start over. He even told me that a former girlfriend borrowed a lot of money from him and that he was going back to collect. I let out a deep sigh. Jake had indeed improved in his ability to lie. Ashley, have you ever considered that a man who truly loves you wouldn't hide such important things as having children? Would he conceal his marital history from you? Would he let you become pregnant without telling you he was financially broke? Ashley placed a trembling hand on her belly, tears brimming in her eyes again. I'm 7 months pregnant. He said we'd get married in Mexico once he finished things in the States. But now I realize he has no ability to provide a stable future for me and our child. Michael walked over and handed Ashley a tissue. Ma'am, as a man and as a father, I must tell you, a real man does not shy away from responsibility. Jake abandoned a pregnant Sarah 8 years ago and is now lying to you. This shows his true nature hasn't changed. You need honesty and reliability now, especially since you're pregnant, not lies and avoidance. Jake finally couldn't hold back. Enough. Don't you all start brainwashing Ashley here. Sarah, I admit I've made a lot of mistakes before, but people can change. I truly repent now. I want to take responsibility. I want to be Luna's father, and I want to get back together with you. Get back together? I almost laughed out loud. Jake, have you forgotten something? I'm married now, to a man I deeply love. And even if I weren't married, I would never pick a man who has previously abandoned me. What about Michael? Jake pointed at him. Is he better than me? He just got lucky meeting a successful version of you. If I had stayed, I would also have been the successful one. This statement infuriated me completely. Jake Morrison, do you really think success is just a matter of luck? Do you know how I've spent the last 8 years? After you disappeared, I was left holding Luna, who is only 3 months old, facing debts of $500,000, sleeping just 4 hours a night. I worked during the day, coded at night, and took up part-time jobs on weekends. Every penny went to repaying debts and raising our child. I retook the TOEFL and GRE, applied for a PhD, and conducted research in the lab until midnight. I did my PhD while working and raising kids, all without any help. My first AI algorithm was acquired by Google for $5 million. My second project secured $10 million in venture capital. My third company is now valued at $5 billion. All of this was achieved by me, step by step, with my sweat and tears. And what were you doing? Sunbathing on a beach in Mexico, playing with little girls' feelings. My voice rose higher, all the pent-up emotions from the past 8 years bursting forth. Michael wanted to comfort me, but I waved him off, signaling him not to interrupt. Do you know how desperate I felt when Luna got sick? Do you know how scared I was when creditors came knocking, threatening me? Do you know how much I wished for someone to lean on while I sat in the hospital with Luna, getting her injections? But there was no one, nothing at all, because her father is a coward. Just then, Luna came out of the bathroom, having overheard our argument. She walked over to me and gently tugged at the hem of my shirt. Mommy, don't be angry. It's not good for your health. Then she turned to Jake, looking at him with her clear, innocent eyes. Sir, I think you should leave. You've made my mommy very unhappy, and you've made that lady very sad too. If you're truly a good person, you should face the consequences of your mistakes, not come back to disrupt our lives. Jake squatted down to meet Luna at eye level. Luna, I am your biological father. We share blood. Blood relations don't mean anything, Luna said calmly. What matters is who truly loves me, takes care of me, and accompanies me as I grow up. Michael teaches me coding, takes me to visit NASA, and stays with me when I have nightmares. And you, apart from making my mom sad, have done nothing. So, in my heart, Michael is my father. You're just a stranger. The 8-year-old Luna, with her pure words, spoke the harshest truth. Despair finally flickered in Jake's eyes. At that moment, my phone rang. It was my personal lawyer, Alex Chen. Sarah, sorry to disturb you this late, but I have some urgent news. A few creditors heard that Jake Morrison has returned to the US, and they are preparing to pursue the debt again. And according to California law, even if Jake is declared dead, the debt can still be pursued from his heirs. I glanced at Jake and put the call on speaker. Alex, please explain the situation in detail. Jake, when Morrison went missing in 2016, he had racked up a gambling debt of $500,000. With 8 years of interest, that figure has ballooned to a staggering $1.3 million. Even though he was declared dead, if he were to reappear, that debt would still be in play, the lawyer informed us. What's worse, he continued, is that if your creditors discover your current financial standing, they might claim a portion of that debt from you, citing it as marital communal property. Jake's face turned pale at this revelation. Ashley finally started to piece things together. So you didn't come back for family reunification. You're just leveraging Sarah's wealth to resolve your debt issues from Mexico? That's not true. Jake tried to explain, but his voice lacked conviction. I turned off the speakerphone and spoke to the lawyer directly. Alex, prepare all necessary legal documents. I want to resolve this matter by tomorrow morning. After hanging up, I looked at Jake. Do you understand now? Your return isn't going to bring us any benefits. It will only lead to trouble. Everything I've built over the past 8 years could be jeopardized because of your debts. Michael stepped closer to me, reassuringly, "Sarah, don't worry. Our legal team will handle this. And our prenuptial agreement is clear. Your company shares and personal assets are protected." Luna tugged at my hand. "Mom, can I go listen to your TED Talk tomorrow?" "Of course, sweetheart." I squatted down to embrace my daughter. This 8-year-old girl understands love and responsibility far better than her biological father ever could. Ashley stood up and walked toward the door. "Jake, let's go. I need to reconsider our relationship." "Please, Ashley, don't leave me," Jake pleaded, chasing after her. "I truly love you. I can change. If you really loved me, you wouldn't have lied to me." Ashley's voice was soft but firm. "If you want to take responsibility, you should address your debts first instead of running away. I need a man I can rely on, not one who only brings trouble." Jake gave one last look at our house, then at Luna, and finally at me. "Sarah, Don't say it, Jake." I interrupted him. "Thank you for leaving 8 years ago. It shaped me into who I am today. And thank you for coming back today. It confirmed that my choices were correct. Now, please leave our lives and don't come back." Once Jake and Ashley left, the house fell silent again. Luna was already tired, and Michael carried her upstairs to sleep. I stood alone in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing at the twinkling lights of Silicon Valley. 8 years ago, I cried here, desperate and uncertain about my future. 8 years later, I stood here, watching the business empire I built and the happy family I created. A message pinged on my phone from the TED Talk organizers for tomorrow. "Dr. Rodriguez, we expect 3 million viewers for your presentation. It will be one of the year's most anticipated tech talks." I smiled and replied, "Thank you. I'm ready." Michael came downstairs and wrapped his arms around me gently. "How are you feeling?" "Great." I leaned into his embrace. "Better than ever." "What's tomorrow's talk about?" "How to create miracles when life puts you in a corner." "That's a wonderful title." Michael kissed my hair. "You're the perfect example." Outside, the lights of a Tesla faded into the distance. Jake Morrison had once again left my life. But this time, I was no longer the pitiful woman who felt abandoned. I am Dr. Sarah Kim Rodriguez, the queen of Silicon Valley and a leader in the AI revolution. I have a husband who loves me, a brilliant daughter, and a company worth $5 billion. Most importantly, I have a heart fortified against any further harm. Tomorrow, I will stand on the TED stage and share this story with the world. About how a woman rises from despair and transforms the pain of life into the drive for success. About how true love isn't about possession but about companionship and support. About how a real father is not just a biological concept, but a manifestation of responsibility and care. A tale of how past wounds can become the nourishment for growth when you are strong enough. Jake Morrison thought he could step back into my life. But he didn't realize that he was walking into a different Sarah, one who was no longer weak and vulnerable. He was stepping into the legend of the Queen of Silicon Valley. And in this legend, there was no longer a place for him.